I'm about to show you how to lose millions of dollars like that. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whatever you are. Thank you for watching my videos. My name is Davinci Jeremy. I'm in Dubai 5x5 here in Dubai. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to be doing a monologue talking about money, right? Because that's what crypto is all about. It is a new form of money, a new form of wealth storage. And also Satoshi's VM. And because I went through the source code, I went through the Yellowpaper, and I've come to a conclusion that is very interesting. And you need to stick around for that at the end of the show. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to jump into it and talk about, a lot of people, when you ask me for money, a lot of people ask for money, right? And the problem with that is that even if you got it, right, from me, which I'm not giving it to you, okay, you would spend it and it would be gone and you'd need more money. And whether you get millions of dollars or a small amount of money, if you don't understand, right, it is not, you can't go out and buy stuff and then expect, well, it's bottomless. Like, let's just say you got $1 million. It's bottomless. You feel it's bottomless, and you start buying this, you're buying that, you buy this car, for example, a Lamborghini, and then you don't realize that there's maintenance costs to owning a Lamborghini. There's, an upkeep of if you're driving a Lamborghini, you got to wear this type of clothes. And if you're doing this and that, and then you have to pay for valet parking, right? Because you don't want it scratched, right? And then you don't realize that all this cost, the put extorient and everything, adds up. And then takes away from the money that you have. And so, if you go out and buy a bunch of expensive watches and this and that and all that kind of nonsense, your money will be gone like that. And then you'll end up having to sell the watches, sell the car. And on top of that, people will look at you and judge you and say, man, I never trusted him with money. Right? So then you created with that instant wealth, you created a what's called a slow problem. Fast money comes with slow problems, because now it's going to take a long time for people to build up trust in you with money. Don't want that now, do you? So do not expect to be wealthy in crypto overnight. Okay. So, with that said, right, I want to talk about my qualifications before I go on to show you what I found out about Satoshi's VM. For those who don't know, I'm a software developer, and I've been a software developer since I was 8 years old, actually, 1980 or something. I think, 1980. My parents bought me a VIC-20. A VIC-20 is a computer. It was my first computer. It had 5K of RAM, and here I'm going to show you a picture of it. It was an 8-bit computer, 5K of RAM, and 2 of it was used by the operating system, leaving you with 3K. And so to understand how crazy it was, yes, in 1980, 8, I remember my parents buying it in 1980. This thing, right, I wanted it because I wanted to make my own games. And 3K is only an email would wipe it out. And so, and I built my own game on it. So it was an interesting little computer. And you can see right here, it had 20K ROM plus 5K RAM, right? The ROM was the operating system. That 2 of it was used for the basic operation. So you only had 3.5K. Right. It was ridiculous. Right. It was absolutely ridiculous when I first got it. But anyways, I digress. I moved into different programming fields and learned how to make different applications. And I even stayed at one company for 17 years to build their application called File Nexus. Now, I got into YouTube only when I realized that our financial system is a fraud. It transfers wealth from the poor and the middle class to the rich through inflation, through the basically the money printing, right? So I want you to understand that the Federal Reserve, Alan Greenspan, the longest running Fed chairman, he said this, and you can look this up, right? The Federal Reserve stands ready to print money without limit. He said that twice, the word without limit twice in his statement. What does that mean? It means that they will print money, not for you. Don't get it twisted. Not for you. For the Jeff Bezoses, for the super rich, if things go awry, right? Just not you. They'll get bailed out. You won't. So keep that in mind. So this is where, I understood this concept, and I wanted to tell people how it was a scam. And the reason why I did that was because I realized that the only way for evil to persist is that good men do absolutely nothing. And also, I remember learning about a story when I was a child let me tell you about this story. It was there was a storm the night before, and on the beach there was a bunch of fish, and this little boy went and was picking up the fish and throwing them back in the water. This other girl came to the little boy and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" The boy said, "I'm saving the fish." And the little girl looks around and says, "What are you talking about? Why? It's a waste of time. Look at the beach. There's a bunch of fish here." The beach was loaded with fish everywhere. And the boy said to the girl, well, it would matter to the fish that I saved. And then she started throwing fish into the water. So the point was, I knew that I had to do something and talk about, our financial system, and hopefully other people would learn and also talk about it as well. And so if you understand this financial system is a fraud and a scam, and you understand anything about how the rest of the world works, like, the Jeffrey Epstein nonsense and stuff like that, and you understand the truth about it, like even 9/11, you need to talk about it. You need to express that to other people. Even though most people are going to be closed-minded, you have to be there for the people who are open-minded, so that they can share it to other people who are open-minded, so this can stop. It's the only way it stops. If you do nothing, well, they win, and that means the whole society loses, right? Even the people who do not understand or don't care about the truth about what's going on. So help out, right? If you can do YouTube videos, even though, I know it's really difficult and nobody's going to pay attention to you for a very long time, it will help in a small way that your voice is out there with many voices explaining to people what really is going on, whether it is about the financial system or about, about what the elite are doing, and the evil stuff that they're doing, or anything that, like, about how relationships have been broken down because of, well, the elites did that because, if women have to work and men have to work and we're separated, well, then our population goes down, which is what they want. And on top of that, they get more money. So they built this whole thing in many different ways in order to benefit them. And the objective is not more money; just more money is also control. But I'll digress and focus back onto software development. So now, as a software developer, I know I read through the source code and I understood how Bitcoin works. And so although I'm not fully versed on exactly every single part of Bitcoin, I have a general idea. And one of the things I want you to understand before I go into explaining what I read and what I found in the Satoshi paper is that Bitcoin does not operate like a regular computer program. Although you can program, do some limited programming with Bitcoin, the programming is a simple math equation. What do I mean by that? Well, take a look at this math equation, right? It's like this is 5 by 5 divided by 3, power of 2, or 15, and 7 minus 1, right? I know it's a little bit confusing, but that's what it is, right? So it's all put together, times e, which e is just a mathematical number, divided by pi, minus x, which is a variable number that you could stick in, any number you could stick in, and it must equal 100. If this is all true, right, this equation is correct, right? That's how Bitcoin works. It's either the equation is true, meaning send the money, or not, meaning don't send the money. That's how it works. It's simple as that, right? So it just evaluates a large equation. Now, it does a lot of other things other than the normal division to the power, multiplication, right? This adding and subtracting and ors, right? It can do all these things, of course, but it does a lot more, right? But none of it is an if statement, right? Checking to see, it was checking, looping through and checking a whole bunch of other things and making sure that a lot of other things are true as well. It doesn't work that way. It is a very straightforward and static system. So it can't go out and find information somewhere else and evaluate it. Is one of the problems with Bitcoin. Okay, so with that understanding, right? With that understanding, right, we can go and read this white paper, and I can explain a little bit more about this yellow paper actually. So this yellow paper is very, very confusing. I think it's designed to obfuscate one thing and one thing only. It's designed to obfuscate this fact that the verifier public key, the way it works. Remember what I said, Bitcoin is just a mathematical equation. So this script, all it does is it evaluates to true or false. That's it. Nothing else. To understand this thing completely, Bitcoin, when you send it to some, you have to send it to another address. And you can set the parameters of when it could be spent at that address. The value that you send are called outputs as well as inputs, but for the person who wants to spend it, it's called an input. So you can give somebody an input, right? And they say, okay, well, you've got to solve this equation right here. You can see let's just pretend that's an equation, right? Don't try to say what pre-image of a value of wire. They're just trying to confuse you. You have to solve this equation and solve this equation, and then you could spend it. So with the solve of that equation and a little bit of math, and this solving of this equation with a little bit of math, you can actually spend it. And who's spending it? Well, this person, the verifier's public key. Who's the verifier? Well, it's basically, right, as it says here, a third-party verifier. It's somebody is controlling the money. Whilst I can say, let's pretend the system is evaluating something to say, okay, well, now that you're bridging it over to SatoshiVM, meaning that you're sending the bitcoins not to SatoshiVM, to an address that only if certain conditions are true that the money can be spent. But it doesn't mean the specific person will be receiving it, right? Because you don't know who will receive it. Just that a condition has been met and then it can be sent. That's it. So with that understanding, this condition can be looked up by this public key verifier. He can pretend to run the network in a specific way so that he comes up with a condition, right, that allows him to spend. And it doesn't matter if this condition comes from the Satoshi's VM network. He could run the network again, a separate network, and have the condition be met for him, and then send the money to whoever he wants, not just who the system, the other network said it's going to be. And that's the problem with Bitcoin. There is no way for it to check another piece of data in order for it to verify that it can send the money. So with that said, this could turn into a rug pull. Now, does that mean that Satoshi's VM is not going to go up? No, I didn't say that. Probably will go up. Probably will do very well. Why? Because it's new technology. People don't know how to read this complex technology. And that's just the way it is, right? I mean, take a look at XRP, right? It is a full scam, but people buy it anyways, right? Effectively, this could end up the same way. If they make enough money with the tokens and so forth, they may run this thing legitimately for quite some time. But eventually, someone will realize that, some government and stuff like that, and go after them and say, give me all those Bitcoins, right? And so that's going to happen, right? Or somebody robs them. Yeah, even though you could say, well, wait a second here, the system, you have to do some complex mathematical equations. Yeah, well, we could just, run it ourselves and come up with equations ourselves, right? In order to figure out how to send the Bitcoins from that address. It's not that big of a deal. So yeah, that's the problem there. And it is sad to say. I mean, that's why I was trying to develop my own, the second layer for Bitcoin. And I ran into that exact problem. And I was looking to see if they solved that problem, and they did not. So there it is, right? The only solution right now is Lightning Network. Its solution is the best solution that we've seen so far, but it just has some other issues to it. Now, once again, I really think that this particular crypto and its currency will do well anyways, right? Because people just don't read this stuff, don't understand. And so if you want to bet on it, it's fine, right? You can bet on it, but understand a rug pull is possible on this system, and that's the way it is. Now, if you are the developer of this product and you want to debate me on this, I'm down. I'm down. I'm willing to say that I'm wrong. I'm willing to come back out and say, yeah, I read this wrong, and here's why. So please contact me, and we'll debate this, and I'll learn either I'll learn something that I didn't know, or you know what, I will have more information for my viewers. All right. I hope that happens, because I would like to know. I would like to know more. Right. I'd like to learn more. And if either thing happens, whether I'm right or they're right, it's always a bonus for all of us. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hope you learned something today. I do these videos for the enjoyment of teaching you guys. I hope you will go out and help other people understand the realities of the world, and not the false narratives of the television. All right. Thanks for watching, and see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.